What's going on, everybody? Coach MccDann here. As we move along through our improvement journey, we learn all of the different factors that go into that process. Whether if it's you learning about your character choice, learning how to adapt to opponents, the list could go on. But sometimes, a huge step in one's improvement can involve something that's not necessarily as internal, something that's practically in plain sight, such as a replay system. Today, we're going to be going over the process of evaluating replays, what benefits that would entail, and when to know when you should take the time to watch them. The replay system in Smash Ultimate is one of the most overlooked aspects of the game when it comes to the beginner or even intermediate players. Some players just prefer to get more in-game experience rather than sitting back a few matches and learning what they could be doing to set them up to lose a game to begin with. This is a big factor into watching replays, or what the community likes to call it, VOD reviewing. It's so important for the most advanced players. Let's say you have a specific character that you just keep losing to, no matter how hard you try. It's a good practice to brush off the loss with a good old "we'll get him next time," only until the next time rolls around and you lose again. And again. And again. For the opposing player, all they did was do what they had to do to earn that win, and most likely, you could have been making mistakes from previous games that you don't even know about. Watching replays is an important first step to learning how to play differently, and I'm about to explain how. Our first step is to, well, get a replay. But what kinds of games should we save as replays, you may ask? Typically, you should focus on saving replays of games that you lose, so you can evaluate what options that put you in that situation to begin with. So I recommend playing 3 to 5 games with a friend or family member and saving any replays of games you lose. If you start to win all of these games, good for you, but keep playing until you lose at least one. So after we save our replay, let's head on into that replay system and explain a few things. This is a replay system that does not have many features when it comes to rewinding or going in slow motion, but what we can do is pause and evaluate the options you make going from here, as well as move frame by frame with L, and refresh the camera with up arrow and X at the same time if we need to. So after you finally have that replay of yours, let's dive into how to evaluate the gameplay for improvement. Throughout any game of Smash Bros, there's always something about your gameplay that can be evaluated. What we'll want to focus on first and foremost is the actions that we do to put ourselves in a losing position. What does that all mean exactly? Well, let's go over a few examples. Do you tend to find yourself being aggressive when you have the lead in a game? That is a reoccurring issue with most players. Or do you happen to use a move so much that your opponent started punishing that option after so many attempts? You might have just found your very first habit. The most important thing to do in these situations is to ask yourself questions when watching replays themselves, such as, why did I give up stage control when my opponent was in the blast zone? Or something basic such as, what did I just do to lose that stock? Asking yourself these questions can give yourself a new perspective you haven't seen before, so I highly suggest writing down what you see yourself doing the most that causes you to gain more damage or even lose a stock. Okay, so now that you've checked out the replay system, understand concepts on how to study your VODs, let's discuss what you could do going forward to increase your progression. Part of what makes Smash Bros so unique is how everyone adapts to their own pace. It might take one person a week or so to break a habit or perform a specific option, whereas another person, it could take multiple weeks. This process applies for all aspects of Smash, mastering a true combo, breaking a habit, understanding what moves to use at high percents. The list could go on for a good while. But what we'll want to do is focus on one singular thing at a time before you work on other things. Maybe this is something as simple as not recovering to stage the same exact way every time, or not shielding after a roll on a platform. Whatever this might be, it's important to write down what exactly that thing is, and begin to play each game after that with an end goal to specifically avoid or perform more of that task. So for example, if something you wrote down was to stop double jumping at ledge, then your focus for the next amount of games after that should not stray too far off the path of double jumping from ledge specifically. Win or lose, that's not the goal. Improving is. And with that, we just went over the process of reviewing replays. This is something that even the more advanced players don't always use to their advantage. So it's important to recognize that doing something as simple as observing your mistakes without judgment through replays can put you on track for a very gratifying experience with improvement.